Rev up your engines! Well, as I forecasted, we're kind of in a recession already. Things look like they're only going to get worse. And the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, forecasts that the global economy is going to have its weakest growth since 1990. So what's that? 33 years ago. They expect 2.8% growth this year, which isn't much, right? And this is the world. This isn't just one place. Showing that, hey, things really aren't growing like they think they're going to be. And it's not just now. It's the near future, too. They say the next 5 years, it's going to be the lowest growth since 1992. So they're saying 5 years, nothing's going to happen much. Could be a long-lasting recession. And of course, the powers that be want to make it look better than it is, so they pretend we're not in one. Hey, go to the grocery store. We just bought 2 bags of groceries for $280. Don't think that things aren't getting expensive. The prices of cars is going up. We're in this crazy inflationary economy, and eventually it's going to go, and then the recession just falls right into the hole. Too many people have been making money doing nothing. Cryptocurrency nonsense. And now you can see the cryptocurrency nonsense is starting to fall apart, right? That's the tip of the iceberg. Most of the iceberg's underwater. And of course, they blame it on all kinds of things. Russia invading Ukraine and blah, blah, blah. But basically, the fact comes to it that there's an awful lot of people making money doing nothing. And since they aren't doing anything, what's it based in? It's based in nothing. Just like cryptocurrencies, right? They're based on nothing. They're just mathematical formulas. Do they create anything? No, they're just there. So the economic outlook does not look that great. And anybody thinks, okay, in the next 5 years, if the growth is that little, do they really think we're all going to be coming out and spending a bunch of money on electric cars, building an electric infrastructure? I don't think so. Well, here we go again. The Biden administration is saying, well, we want everybody to buy electric cars. And Americans are just thirsting for electric cars. They all want electric cars, but there aren't enough out there for them to buy, right? And they're just waiting for them. Yeah, well, I got news. That's a bunch of propaganda, right? Because, what people say, they reserved an electric car, right? Reserved. In most cases, it means nothing. They might not even put any money back, or it's a refundable deposit. Nobody's doing any kind of statistics on, well, how many people ordered these things, and when they came out, how many actually bought them, right? It's such a small percentage. And I love, here's some politicians, here's what they say. Honestly, the electric vehicles being delivered by automakers are a lot better. People are willing to wait in line for 2 or 3 years. What a bunch of baloney. Who's going to wait 2 or 3 years for a car, right? I mean, maybe some early technology nuts. Oh, I got to get an electric car. Oh, I'll wait years and years. The average American isn't interested. Did a survey. Almost 3/4 of Americans says their next car is not going to be an electric car. 20-something% of the people in California who bought an electric car said they're not happy with it and they're not going to get another electric car. There's used electric cars in Boston sitting on used car lots that nobody's buying. Realize in 2021, 3.1% of the cars sold were electric cars. Okay. So 3 out of 100 are electric cars. And I even question that. I don't believe any of these guys' information because I saw 5 electric cars driving between Tennessee and Rhode Island, did my traveling. It's a 3-day trip because we stop in different places, right? I saw 5 electric cars. I saw tens of thousands of normal cars. So this baloney that, the 3.1% of the cars are, no way. If that was the case, I would have seen hundreds of electric cars or thousands of electric cars, and I didn't at all. So I don't even believe any of these statistics these guys throw out. They're just pushing it because they want to sell something. And wouldn't the car manufacturers love it if the government says, you all have to buy electric cars now? The car companies will sell them electric cars at a very hefty profit, right? If the government says you got to buy something and they make it, of course they're going to be happy, Electric cars cost more. It's a fact. And they said, well, as we mass produce them, the price is going to go down. No, it's actually going up because there's a limited amount of lithium in supply, so the prices of the cars go up. And of course, the Biden administration makes it worse because they say, well, we give a tax break to the people who build the batteries in the United States, or other friendlies, they call it. They just want to cut China out, right? You get it from Canada, Mexico, other places that are friendly to us, but not China, right? But that makes the price of them go up even higher. The batteries get more expensive if they're made over here versus made in China, right? Why do you think Elon Musk is just opening up another factory in China to build electric batteries? Because it's cheaper to make them there, right? You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't tell people, well, we're going to make these cars cheaper, but you got to make the stuff in the United States. So the price goes up, everything costs more. As we all know, anything the government has to do, whatever they say, probably the exact opposite is going to be the fact. Oh, they'll get cheaper as time goes on. No, they get more expensive. And then they talk about range. They lie about the range. The range is baloney. I have people with these electric cars, and they say, we can't take long trips on them because if it's cold outside or if it's really hot outside and running the AC, there's not enough range. There's not enough places to charge them up, and right? And then they say, oh, don't worry, we'll fix the infrastructure. Don't ever listen to somebody who says, we'll fix this in the future. Guess what? In the future, usually it never gets fixed. Well, here we go with GM and their hypocrisy. Oh, we're going to be the electric car manufacturer, blah, blah, blah. They just released the figures for the 2023 Colorado pickup truck, right? I'm not making this up. Gas mileage rating is 17 in the city, 18 miles per gallon combined, and a whopping 19 on the highway. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. The biggest sales of American vehicles are SUVs, big trucks, and medium-sized trucks, right? They're actually polluting more than they did 5 years ago because people keep buying these big vehicles. Yet the government's saying, we're all going to have electric cars around. Well, gee, the people are voting with, we want big gasoline and diesel trucks and SUVs. We don't want little bitty electric cars. And of course, the car companies say, oh, we can make big SUVs and big trucks with electric batteries. You can, but they're not going to be efficient. They're going to run out of power. They're going to weigh too much. They're going to cost a fortune to build because the more they weigh, the bigger battery they need. The bigger the battery, the more the car weighs again. And it just goes on and on and on. It's like a cat chasing his tail. You're never going to catch it because you're twirling around and around. Well, we need more horsepower. Well, we need a bigger battery. But then it weighs more. Well, then we need even more horsepower. Then it's going to take even longer to charge it up. Don't think that their talk about electrifying means anything because they're making all their money on gasoline and diesel trucks and large SUVs. You think they're going to shoot a cash cow? No, they aren't going to. Sleepy in Kentucky once says, I've gone through two Camry SE 2008, 2014, got about 125,000 miles on each before I had serious issues, transmissions and rattling. Wife says I drive like a lunatic because I was a police officer 20 years ago. What modern car would you suggest that would hold that up? Never wrecked, no tickets, I'm hard on brake, jackracket stops, lots of highway driving. Okay. Well, if you're really going to be a hard driver, get yourself a standard transmission because they're going to hold up better. Automatic transmissions today are very complex. Some have 8 speeds, some have 9, some have 10, but it's all computer run and they're very complex and they're made to get the best gas mileage possible. You beat them. They're not made for speed. They're made for gas mileage. They're going to wear out faster. I would say look at standard transmission vehicles because you're not going to be having the problems that you're having with automatics. If you really are a hot rod driver, get a standard transmission. You're going to have to buy clutches, but they're not that bad, right? Because the transmissions are made for gas mileage now, not for power. And if you use them for power, you're just going to wear the things out. You wear out Toyotas that are really dependable. I'd hate to see what happened if you were driving like a Chevy Impala. It would have probably broken at half that mileage. I think I was a Chevy Impala, 16,000 miles of transmission went on it because he drove it real hard. And the spout welds on a torque converter just broke and it wouldn't move at all. So look at a standard transmission or manual. They used to call them standard because that was the standard. I have to be politically correct and call them manual transmissions. Lalore 22 says, should I get a 2023 Corolla Cross or a Corolla Cross hybrid? Please help me. I'm buying my first car ever. Realize the hybrid gets better gas mileage. But the Corolla Cross gets pretty good gas mileage too. Look at the price differential. And if you think, hey, the hybrid costs a lot more, get the Cross. It's not a hybrid because it's simpler technology. It's your first car. You'd be better off having a simpler car as your first car than a hybrid. Because when hybrids break, they cost a fortune. Now, it's a Toyota. They generally don't break till they get 150, 200,000 miles or more. But the regular one is so much simpler. You're probably better off with that. And you're going to pay less for it, too. And they're both dependable vehicles. But you generally never recuperate the little bit of gas mileage difference by buying a hybrid. It's more of a make yourself feel good. Oh, it's ecological. I got a hybrid. Hey, they're still burning gasoline. It isn't all that much difference. It's not an electric car. Well, here I'm in Rhode Island, and an owner of a Rhode Island trucking company pleaded guilty to altering diesel trucks to bypass pollution standards. And it was a pretty big deal because diesel tune-ups of Rhode Island did stuff all over the country. They're just headquartered in Rhode Island. From 2014 to 2019, this company, and they use what they called a foreign national to reprogram stuff. So they get more horsepower, more torque, but they polluted more. Now this guy Collins and his companies gave a foreign national a laptop that he could do the software with, and then the foreign national did it, and he was paid a fee for each vehicle. Now these diesel tune-ups of Rhode Island, a couple other companies, they pleaded guilty. Watch out what you're doing out there. The whole idea that they used a foreign national, they sent them a laptop, shows the whole thing was kind of fishy to begin with, right? Now they're going to be sentenced on July 10th, so let's hope that information comes out, and I can talk about that after July 10th to see what happened to these guys. Are they going to get a slap in the wrist, or are they going to get some serious consequences? So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.